This might just be the most important electric car of the last decade. Maybe even the most important since the Nissan Leaf and Renault Zoe. Welcome to an affordable electric car that you actually really want, the Renault 5. If you haven't seen this thing yet, where have you been? The Renault 5 has been everywhere for the last few months, and I mean, you can see why, can't you? So, this is a small, affordable electric hatchback. It's a little bit shorter than a Volkswagen Polo for a bit of context, so it's slightly under 4 metres long, so it is a small car, and yet Renault has managed to shoehorn 52 kilowatt hours of lithium-ion NMC battery into the floor plan, which gives it a range of up to 255 miles, or you can get a 40 kilowatt hour LFP battery, which is slightly different battery chemistry. That gives it a 194 mile range. Prices start from £23,000 for that shorter range car. I think that the mid-spec Techno with the longer range battery is going to be a real sweet spot for a lot of people, given the kit and the range, and that costs £27,000. So that's all pretty good, even compared to, you know, all of the rivals, things like the Peugeot E208. You know, it's really good value, this car. Even next to new affordable electric cars that have come in, like the Citroën EC3, the Renault 5 is pretty compelling. I would say that finance deals haven't been announced yet, and of course those are going to be really critical. But residuals are supposed to be really very good on the Renault 5 because people really want them. So I think that it's going to be pretty easy to get this sort of the mid-spec long-range car for under £300 per month without a huge deposit. So that is good news indeed. The magic of the Renault 5 is that it looks just brilliant. Unmistakably a Renault 5, yet unmistakably modern. From the square headlights to that reversed C-pillar, it even comes in retro-inspired colours, including this green pop colour, which harks right back to the original 1970s car and is even the standard colour on this new 5. A bit more interesting than white or black, it's got to be said. So, we know that it looks absolutely epic, we know that it's good value, and we know that it's got the range that you need, even to make it a feasible daily driver. Is it tiny and cheap inside? Is that how Renault has saved the money? No. Actually, it's really quite practical. 326 litres of boot space down here. Now, I know you have got quite a high load lip and a bit of a drop down over there. Do I care in a small car like this? Not really, no. It's a really usable boot, and that is all good. However, no frunk, I'm afraid. You can sit 3 people on the rear bench in the Renault 5, but they won't be terribly happy about it. A couple of kids or average-sized adults will be all right though, and the 5 is a 5-door car as standard, so access really isn't too bad. I really like it in the front of the Renault 5. I think they've done a really good job of making it feel quite cool and quirky, and actually not cheap at all. I like details like this, the stitching on this jutting out bit on the dash. This all harks back to the original Renault 5. Little, you know, illuminations on the dash here. It's all very cool. I even quite like the material finish, the colours. I think it feels pretty smart. Yes, some of the plastics down here, these all feel pretty cheap. But do you know what? I really do quite like it. I think this is really nice for the price of the car and what it's trying to be. I think they've done a really good job of the perceived quality. Also, equipment's not bad. So even if you do go for the entry-level Renault 5, you still get cruise control, you get air conditioning, reversing sensors, 18-inch alloys. It's really not too bad. I still think the Techno is going to be the sweet spot because that gets adaptive cruise control, a reversing camera, and also gets the charging lights on the bonnet, a few style updates, that kind of thing. So I think that's definitely going to be the sweet spot. You can go for top spec Iconic 5, which gets standard heated seats, various other style upgrades and all sorts of things. So that's tempting too, but I think, yeah, like I've said, that mid-spec Techno is going to be, I think, good value for money for the equipment and all of that. Driving position's good. You even get lumbar adjustment, electric lumbar adjustment, like that. Visibility is really not bad. I just really like this car. Every car gets the 10-inch touchscreen that we have here. That's got Google software on it, so you get your Google Maps, all your Google apps and that kind of thing, which I really like because, let's face it, we all live on Google these days. I certainly do anyway, so I kind of feel like that's all very familiar and I know how it all works. I think it's all really good. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both wireless. That's everything you need really, isn't it? Charging speeds peak at 80 kilowatt for the smaller battery or 100 kilowatt for the bigger battery, so both will manage a 10 to 80% charge in around 30 minutes. Impressively, you also get a heat pump as standard, which helps with cold weather efficiency and range, and you also get vehicle to load so that you can charge your electrical devices from the car's high voltage battery. I feel that I should start by addressing the fact that I am on the incorrect side of the car, for the UK anyway, I would add. So this is a left-hand drive car, which we've got early because I'm assessing the Renault 5 for the European Car of the Year, for which I'm a juror. So that's quite exciting. Is this the car of the year? Could be. I think it's in with a very good chance. Anyway, that's why I'm on this side of the car and why it's a French plated car as well. But it does mean that we've been lucky to get into the Renault 5 in the UK a little bit early, and I've really enjoyed driving it. In fact, it's kind of reassured me that I loved this car when I first drove it out in Denmark, actually, a few months ago. And it's just as brilliant as I remember. So this is a mid-spec techno, slightly different French spec, but yeah, mid-spec techno on 18-inch wheels, and it rides beautifully. It's got really nice steering. It just feels like a nice light car. It is quite light. It's only about 1.4 tonnes, which is not bad at all for a long-range EV like this, or mid-range, I suppose you might call it. It's just great. It feels exactly right for being really wieldy around the city. So you're talking about a really decent turning circle in the Renault 5. I think it's under 10.5 metre turning circle, so you can really sort of fling it around little mini roundabouts, and feels really nippy in multi-storey car parks. It's great. But then it still feels mature enough to be really confidence-inspiring, even at motorway speeds. It's just really good. It's got such a lovely chuckability to it. It's not the most refined EV out there, but I don't think anybody's going to mind. It's not the most expensive EV either, and I don't think it's bad refinement at all. You do just get a bit of wind noise at higher speeds particularly, but that's fine. Honestly, I think the way that this car drives is absolutely spot on for what it needs to be. Just brilliant fun, and yet also exactly as light, confident and smooth and comfy as you want it to be. Really, really excellent. I love it. I haven't driven the smaller battery, Renault 5, which is slightly less powerful. So this is the comfort range, as they call it, which is 148 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 in just under 8 seconds, more than fast enough. And you can even use your multi-sense button on the wheel here, put it into sport, and you get slightly sharper throttle response, heavier steering. It's really good fun. I really like it. It's even got a little bit of a kind of edge of almost a hot hatch, almost. Obviously you need the Alpine A290 for the full hot hatch experience, but the Renault 5 is good fun. I love it. I just think it's a really nice setup. It's sort of really does hit the spot for what you want this car to be. Regen is a bit limited. That is one of the things that does bother me a bit. So you can put it into B mode, which is heavier brake regen on this stalk here, which is one of very few areas in the car that feels a little bit cheap and tacky. So this is 3D printed at the end of this, and you can choose different colours and stuff, so it brings a bit of personalisation. But the actual stalk itself, I think, feels a bit tacky, but hey, I'll forgive it. I'll even forgive it for having the gear selector stalk right above the windscreen wipers, so it's a bit easy to accidentally swipe your windscreen rather than selecting reverse or whatever. Anyway, these are little niggles that I don't think anybody's going to be bothered by. B mode is heavy enough. It's not a one pedal mode, but it's good around town, and then you can stick it back into standard D mode, and brake regen's pretty mild, but it always bleeds in nice and smoothly. Yeah, it's just a really, really easy car to drive, and it's just enjoyable and satisfying and quite fun, regardless of whether you're out in the countryside like this, on the motorway or in town. It's a really lovely car to drive, really enjoy it. I mean, I've spoken to people who are proper purist enthusiasts, petrol heads, let's call them, you know, that old adage, and they want one of these, and I love that about this. I think it's the styling, it's got a real aspirational want one quality to it, despite the fact that it's a great city to motorway commuter, it's chuckable and fun, it's comfortable, it's practical inside, it's great value. What more do you want? It really is the complete package, and I think it is such a brilliant car. I just absolutely love it. So yeah, go out and buy one. Ideally, maybe buy two, just so that we all get to see more of them on the road. Head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars, and please do like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, and turn your notifications on so that you don't miss any of our videos.